As it was once told by Alan Greenspan, the number one problem in today's generation and economy is the lack of financial literacy. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Converse with Commerce. Today's topic holds a lot of importance as this will prove helpful to almost everybody in their future endeavors. Today, we have Mr. S.C. Ghosal, HOD of a multinational company, as our guest speaker, who will be providing us his insights on the topic. Thank you, sir, for removing time from your busy schedule and conversing with us.
Thank you very much, my young students, and it is very heartening to see that from the right at this stage you are talking about the financial literacy, and I am very much privileged to be along all of you to share my little knowledge about that. Thank you. Please
Thank
go
you,
ahead.
sir. Many people believe that they know the basics of financial literacy, but statistics show otherwise. A staggering 76% of the total population of India does not know the basics. Education is the foundation of success. So today, we plan to familiarize our viewers with the concept and teach them its real life applications. Financial literacy is the ability to understand the basic financial concepts. It is the possession of knowledge and skills required to make effective and informed decisions using the available financial resources. It helps individuals become self sufficient so that they can achieve financial stability.
So, to give our viewers a basic idea of financial literacy, please walk us through its components, sir.
So once again, thank you very much. The basic financial literacy is that the one person must understand right from the beginning of his career, maybe in the student or in the early stage of his career, that what is the earning, what are the spending, saving, and the protection and borrowing. This is the five main pillars of the financial literacy. And this financial literacy must have right from the beginning of the career or maybe at the student level. And it should be the innate character. Why? Because this literacy helps us out not only to understand the basic profile of a human being, but also how it helps in the economy. As for example, the budget, when we make the budget as per the government department, we must have seen there are some provision in the budget. Means it is keeping the closed tab, how the income is coming, what are the spending, what are the saving, what we will borrow for the future for the short-term goal and the long-term goal, and definitely the protection. Primarily, if I take it very simple and lucid language to all of you, suppose the one person is having an income X and the normal expenses is Y. So definitely X minus Y equal to, which is called as a saving. Now the question is saving, how you to invest it. Invest is nothing but that how the return of an investment will come. There are a lot of instruments in the market to do with your investment good for your requirement for the long term and for the short term. Suppose to meet your short term, your investment takes care, that's fine. But there are some things, as for example, taking some good home for your house, making education, or maybe after 2 years or 1 year or 3 years, you make a holiday plan with your family, maybe some medical requirement for your near and dear ones. If we jot down these expenditures in our budget and is your plan, so definitely it will give you the outline how to spend it, how to save it, how to invest it. And the investment is a continuous process. Why? Because as I told you, investment is nothing. Investment is how your capital is giving you a return. Capital means what is saving. That return depends on the institution. As for example, there are some equity instruments, there are some debt instruments. So that gives your risk appetite culture and how you are utilizing these savings. So this is taking care of your savings part. Borrowing part, Suppose after 5 years of your job, you want to purchase one good house. So maybe the equity at this present time you don't have. So there are again a lot of institutions available in the market, like banks, NBFCs, like some private loans also, which you can take this, and it's a borrowing. It can be staggered. It can be established in your maybe 10 years and 20 years alignment based on your income profile, based on your repayment capacity. And you take this borrowing to make your long-term assets or to make your long-term goal fulfilled. So from this, the borrowing takes into a picture. Spending, I told about. Spending is one, is the regular expenses which is required. One is which is required for the seasonal expenses. Third is which is required, which takes care of your contingency, short-term contingency or long-term contingency. So this part, this is taking care of the spending. It depends on the profile of the party, profile of the employee, or profile of the person being who is dealing with this. Similarly, the protection. Protection takes care of the any eventuality in your life. It may be primarily two, three. One is the health. If you give the example of today's, the COVID-19, 1 year before, nobody knew that what will happen. So there are something called insurance, and there are something called insurance, maybe the health insurance for your own health and the family. Similarly, there are some insurance which takes care of your whole lifespan. And second thing is the contingency plan takes care of it. Maybe 3 to 6 months. There are so many persons maybe with the jobless, or maybe they have been sent on the forced leaves. How they will take care of the family? The contingency fund, which is taking care of the budget, that will take care of this family's expenses. And once the situation improves, then again you will go back to your original income, spending, borrowing, what I talked about. So this basic financial literacy will help every human being, every individual to make not only his own portfolio correct, it will help as an overall economy sustained, isn't it?
Thank you, sir, for getting us wrapped around the topic. You spoke about borrowing as a component of financial literacy, and the basic example that I could think of was student loans. So, as of 2019, the outstanding student loan debt was at an all time high of $1.5 trillion. There are people who couldn't complete their degree, and for them, paying off the loans is a harder method. And it also doesn't help that the college fee has been more than doubled in the past decade. In such dire conditions, how are students supposed to pay their loans off?
It's a very good question, and I must appreciate the students at maybe at the college level or the university level or the MBA level. Certain point of time, based on the family background, definitely they need some help from outside the family's means. The thing is, obviously there are some truths and there are some myths against the student loan. Truth and myth, I will just try to explain what are they. As for example, the student loan is available again in the market in the different forms. One, maybe the federal form, like the government of the respective country, whoever the citizen, maybe Indian, American, European, whoever. So there are some assistance and aid is there, maybe based on his merit. Sometimes this loan is provided very, very marginal interest based on their merit. Sometimes it depends of the economical situation of the family. Sometimes depend on the credit facilities of the family who is belong to, how is the credit profile. And fourth, maybe there are some scholarship based, maybe free of thing the student loan is being offered, and there is some tenure has been given to them to take care of these things. So the truth is that student loan definitely required. One person, one should not suppress his ambition. One should not uh, suppress his aspiration to make it happen without availing this. There are a lot of good financial advisors also available in the market to guide you properly. But before going into that, as a professional, as a student who must analyze the pros and cons of what is good and what is best. What is student loan? Student loan is nothing. Student loan is one which is loan as a capital. You are taking it from the market and the interest attached to it. Now, there are a lot of terms and conditions available in the student loans. Maybe one loan is that the prepayment is available. One loan, maybe it is linked to your career, maybe 10 years. One loan, maybe 2 to 3 years. So tenure, rate of interest, and the payment facilities primarily, and the fourth, the insurance facility against this loan. The three, four things are there. Now the question is, yes, whole students around the world, the loans is going up. It definitely depends upon how the job profile he's having and how the job appetite, and definitely how the job is supplying from the respective governments or around the world. The myth is one should forgive it or may one should skip it. My answer is no. Suppose today there is a moratorium not only on the student loan, on every loan is available in the bank. A lot of advertisement you will be seeing in the newspaper, in the internet, that the respective bank and the Reserve Bank has given the moratorium. What is moratorium? Moratorium is nothing. It is only deferment of the loan. But please do not forget, the moratorium does not get rid of you the interest. The interest will keep on doing this. So always myth is, if your courts, if your parts is allowing it, it is always better to prepone, because there is no prepone penalty. It is always better to give the loan back, number one. Number two, if you thinking the federal loan is there, the federal loan cannot be refinanced, mind it, this is the truth. But federal loan can be consolidated. Consolidated means you can defer it. Federal loan, you can stretch it beyond towards your income plan. Third, maybe there is some scheme available in that particular federal things. It will be adjusted against tax, or if you are doing a public servant jobs, you are public servant and you have given a good service to the maybe medical, or maybe in a health sector, or maybe in the public a department, roads department, where you can avail this forgiveness, but it must comply to some criterias laid down by the government, but it cannot be refinanced. But one thing you must keep it in your mind, that when you are taking the loan as a student, there are some risk involved in it. Whenever any institution, maybe bank or private lender or maybe federal, they're giving the loan to all of you. In that time, they take the premium, extra interest on account of the risk, whether this person, this girl or this boy will be getting a good job or not, whether I will get the money back or not. So this risk factor is always added. So that's why the rate of interest is always here, always higher when you are in the student level. But suppose after completion of that particular course for which you have taken the loan, you have got a good job, your risk profile has gone down. So there are a lot of institutions are ready to refinance the loans. As for example, suppose if you take 10% at the rate of 10% loan, 4 years that you have not paid, because the payment term is the day you will get the job, from that day your EMI, equated monthly installment, will start. Fine. Now the question is, you have got a job, your risk profile has gone down. So you apply to the other bank. You see, I have now got a good job. I have taken suppose 10 lakhs rupees of loan in this bank. My rate of interest is 10%, and this is my pay slip. I'm getting this month, and this consistency of the fund is there. So my repayment capacity is much higher right now. Can you refinance the loan? So in that case, they can refinance the loan. As a overall, net, your liability on account of interest will definitely go down. Consolidation means what? In case of the federation, suppose you are taking 2-3 sources of loan of the different income structure. So in that case, you can consolidate the loans based on the, again the thing is based on the calculation which will be done by the you. I am telling you, the financial advisor can help you out, but you are the best person to analyze that which rate by which tenure is giving you the capital plus interest less outgo from your own parts. So then only you can think of the consolidate. Skipping of the loan, your question was the whether you should skip it or you should defer it. It's strictly no. Skipping of the loan means you are going into the debt trap, because the interest will going on adding until and unless you get some moratorium or the waiver scheme from the government or from the institution due to your status. Otherwise, it will keep on increasing your liability going ahead. Am I clear?
But sir, uh,
Yeah, please.
but sir, as we all have seen or heard, there are a lot of myths going around related to student loans. So we would like to know what are those myths and which one of them are true or not.
So the myth I talked about, that sometimes they talk about that you can skip. Sometimes the myth is that if you don't get a good job, you can skip the loan. It is the myth. But the truth is, you cannot skip the loan. If you skip the loan, it keeps on increasing your burden, not today or maybe for the tomorrow. Similarly, there is this myth, there is a myth is that there is a penalty required. Suppose if you have joined in a Google company, but if you join in a Microsoft company, and that is a joining bonus, you have got a good bonus. The myth is, as much as you can defer the loan, it's good. The truth is, no. If you want to prepone the capital, your interest outgo will be lesser. So, in the student loan case, there is no prepayment. There is no prepayment penalty. In case of the profession, suppose in the house loan, or maybe in the car loan, or maybe in the personal loan, suppose I take the 1 crore loan for purchase on house today. Tomorrow I get some jackpot and I get 50 lakhs and I want to the bank, I want to prepone my 50 lakhs loans. Bank will say, that is fine, you can prepone, but we have some income there based on your loan and you are trying to reduce my income. So please give some penalty charges on account of that. In case of student loan, there is no penalty charges. Please mind it. So if you have some lump sum amount to pay back, do it. Don't believe in the myth. The pre-penalty, preponement of your loan attracts the penalty charges. It is not the right thing. Correct? Myth is, again, one myth is that the federal loan can be refinanced. It is not the truth. Federal loan can be consolidated. It cannot be refinanced. But if you have taken loan from the private bankers, if you look the private person, in that case, you cannot consolidate. You can refinance. So these are the myth. Similarly, the student forgiveness, loan forgiveness. Again, I told you, if you are not doing in a public jobs, you will not be attracting in the student forgiveness loan. It is the student forgiveness loans, the terms and condition, they are laid down by the concerned federal structure only. And you have to comply with that laws, then only you will be applying. So these are the 3-4 myths which are talked about. Basically, you have to go to what is the truth and what is the myth. At the end of the day, until or unless you have been waived off by your extracurricular result or by the extraordinary merit, and it is waived off by the concerned government, if it is there, definitely by virtue of your own merit, by virtue of your own job, it is waived off. Until and unless, if it is not there, you should not skip the interest. You should not stretch unnecessarily the tenure. You should not go for the consolidation in case of the private loans, but you should not apply for the forgiveness if you are in the private. And so these are the myths and truths of these student loans.
Thank you, sir, for such a detailed report on student loans. Moving on, in a few years, we students would be old enough to start earning as well. So, in such a situation, what would be your advice for managing our income the right way?
I'm really very happy to see this type of inquisitiveness of the young, bright mind, and I'm really very privileged to tell that again. I will go back to my the original starting of these things, that every financial matter depends how you are budgeting it. The first things comes how is budgeting it. Second, how you are framing your goals. Framing your goals, it's a short-term goal and it's a long-term goal. Next, how you are investing it, whatever the savings in a month or in a year, in a quarter, how you are investing it, what model, what instrument you are using it to get the better output, the better inflow of the money in your purse at the end of the day. That depends on. So choosing the right instrument, save for the rainy day. Again, it's contingency. You have to plan the short-term contingency and the long-term contingency. Always mind it. Avoid the debt traps. Debt traps, always avoid. Sometimes, due to the young mind, they keep on doing which is not need. Sometimes they cannot differentiate what is need and what is greed, what is need and what is want. So please avoid this death trap. So budgeting, right framing of your goal, investment in the proper installment, proper instrument, revisiting your portfolio in a regular frequency, insurance, protection of your money, health insurance or your life insurance, taxation. What should be the best part so that your inflow is higher? You are not wasting your money for the unnecessary taxes. This knowledge, taxation, and if required, your structuring of your salary, structuring of your expenses. These are the primarily 5, 6 pillars of your financial structure. I will take one example. Number one, budget is nothing. Income, expenses, contingency fund, saving, insurance and all which is required, the protection, and taxation part, and the structuring of the total things. So these things you have to just jot down: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then write it, small to smaller to smallest. Try to jot down and see where your expenses, where you can stop the unnecessary expense. Everything $1 saved is $1 earned. Simple. I still recall the Indigo CEO, which was considered as the best airlines in India. Their CEO once told once in an innovation lecture that my people never ever innovates for $1 million of things. They try to innovate of $1 things. If 1% innovates of $1, it will create the bottom line of the company. There was one top line and one is the bottom line. Bottom line means profit. Top line means what is the turnover and what is the revenue. In a personal case also, top line is your income. Then all are the expenses. And everything expense taken care of. What is the balance? This is called bottom line. So if you want to increase the bottom line, you have to take it out, the unnecessary fats in the expenses, unnecessary fats in the taxation, unnecessary fats where you are making an insurance which is not required. So evaluate yourself. See how much medical insurance is required, how much life insurance is required. Do not combine investment versus insurances. Suppose there are a lot of myths there here also. Some insurance company agency want to sell some product which is not for the investment. It is only for the insurance purpose. But they try to misjudge. They try to mislead the person concerned. So do not try to mix these things, insurance part and investment part. So there are 5, 6 parts. You just jot down, make the small and smallest things, make it so that you can have a closed tab on it. Your top line and bottom line is always maintained, it is always upwards, not downwards. Going forward, at a regular interval, maybe once in a month or once in a quarter, you revisit. Maybe some instruments which you have chosen is not giving the right return on your investment. Change it or reshuffle it or redo it. Nothing harm. Because I told you, in the lifespan, life starts suppose 20 years from your job and ends more or less 60. So that means ends means job, that is 40 years. Your risk appetite will be differing once you grow in your age. So based on the risk appetite, you have to invest sometimes. Suppose a person is 70 years old, he cannot go for the investment who is having a lot of risk, maybe lot of return, and the vice versa. In the share market, if you see, the young boys should invest in the equity. Equity is the share. It gives a high return. Because if the money lost, they think, okay, maybe to next year, but maybe the next to next year, I will make this income and get it things. And if they get profit, it will be 50%, 60%, 70%, much, much ahead the back. But the same risk, one person like my father or your father, they cannot take this type of risk when their age is above 50, as 55. So this is the combination of these things. So the prudence of the financial budgeting, the prudence of the financial literacy depends on where you are, what age group you are, and how you are balancing yourself and redoing your budgeting plan, revisiting your budgeting plan in a regular interval. That is the prudence of a human being. That is the prudence of a right professional.
Okay. So moving on to the concept of emergency funds, how many months expenses do financial planners recommend that you set aside in an emergency fund?
For the emergency fund, it the financial advisor, different persons is having the different views. But if you can take the majority, and majority must be granted, generally the short-term emergency fund should be 3 to 6 months, which can take care of short-term emergency funds means what? It takes care of your certain job loss, it takes care of a certain illness, it takes care of certain illness of family and dear, so that after 3 to 6 months is again back to track. So that general expenses, one person is suppose, again I'll take this example, it's a now well described and well publicized subject is the COVID-19. So before 6 months back, nobody knew that. So it is the good, and I think it is appropriate to discuss in this forum. Suppose there are some persons who is related to the airline industry or the tourism industry or maybe the hotel industry. So maybe they are the big flyer 6 months before. Now they are being sent on leave without any payment. Just see this person 6 to 7 years back, but 10 years back, if he or she would not have taken the 3 to 6 months of moratorium or the contingency fund, what would have been position? The families would have been on the roads. So this emergency has been taken care of short-term emergency fund. Long-term emergency fund, it's a very, very unfortunate. It should not. It should be 12 to 36 months long-term emergency fund, where suppose some person is having a one-time heart attack. It is a very unfortunate to discuss, but still, we are all professional. We must discuss in detail. Suppose a person is having a high blood sugar. Suppose a person is having a permanent. So that's the thing. So 9 to 12 months, the long-term emergency fund should be there, and just to take care of the very, very special case. Again, it depends on the person, it depends on the circumstances, and depends on the environment, how he or she is going through.
Thank you, sir, for this emergency funds topic. I'm sure it's going to help us people in the future. So, in a final question, so wrapping it all up, how can we be proactive about our finances?
Saving of saving, investing, borrowing, protecting, and the earning. These five pillars of any individual being is to be kept like a Gita and Bible of their life. Never ever he should not mix what they want in their life. And the goal should be very, very realistic, not be audacious goals. Sometimes to fulfill the audacious goals, maybe 1% and 2% people like Shahrukh Khan, like Amir Khan, these people maybe 20 years before or 30 years before they could not think of to make a mannat or to make a pratiksha. But let us not get carried away. If it comes by virtue of your job, you should take it and you should embrace it. So never ever mix it up with your need and greed. Always maintain the income versus expenses and saving. Always keep it in your mind, my dear students, that saving is a such an item. You should always think, take care of that it investment wherever you will be invested, that return should not be less than the inflation. The time value of money, the time value of capital, time value of property, should always keep it in mind. Today's 100 rupees will not be of the same value after 10 years. So whenever you will be the planning, you should keep in your mind that your rate of interest, your rate of investment, return on investment must be higher. The inflation which the country is giving to you by virtue of the economic era, economic happening. So please never ever neglect these things whenever you're planning. Make a balance, rejig it, refinance it, be agile to make it what is happening. Agility, fungibility must be there in your portfolio. And you should be alert and cautious always to have a good portfolio going forward, so that not only it will give your realistic goals fulfilled in your life, it will also take care when you will be the old age. Old age, it should definitely take care of the lifestyle which you are really living through. You should not compromise on this matter. It only comes if you have a good planning. It only comes if you have protected your money very well. It only comes if you have insured your life very well. It only comes if your income versus spending balancing are taking time. So
Yes,
this
sir.
every take care of. Not only you'll be doing your life fulfilled, after the life, after the retirement also, you can have a very, very delicious and highly enjoyable and a happy life with your family if you plan it proper right now.
Thank you, sir. That was really very enriching views for us. So, we would really like to thank you for coming into this session and giving us such a wonderful insight on financial literacy. I am very sure that all our
Thank you,
viewers,
sir.
including us, it would
Yes.
prove very helpful to us in the future, and we can pass on this information to others who don't know it as well. Thank you so much, sir, for your precious time.
Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
sir.
And I personally wish from my bottom of my heart to all of you who will be seeing that we should very, very bright and fulfilling future in your life. Just enjoy, stay safe, stay happy. Thank you.